Welcome to the Hip Hop Talk Show Temple Tactics. I invite you to travel with me into hip hop culture. Together, we will journey into local hip hop communities, speak with artists, explore hip hop's history, and examine hip hop's culture. So kick back and let's enter the temple. So today is a special temple episode. We're actually down in the Dago, and right next to me we have a premier Dago artist, Cali the Dreamer. He's here, showed up at the last minute to show that he's SD state of mind, and today we're going to conduct an interview. So thank you, Cali the Dreamer, for showing up. I greatly appreciate it. Such a short notice, and here you are. So let's get down, bro. So basically, I'm just gonna grab it, just ask you a question, give you the mic, because this is sort of like a special setting. This is a special taping of Temple Tactics. This is the SD version. So to begin, those that don't know who you are, you're Cali the Dreamer. Can you let the audience know out there who you are, where you come from?
My name's Cali the Dreamer. Shit, if you know, you know. If you don't, you do now. I go by Cali the Dreamer, Cali King James, whatever you know me by. Been rapping a long time. Big San Diego things. Very, very glad to be here, man.
Are you always been a Dago person? Were you born and raised here?
To elaborate, I am for sure born and raised. Right around the corner from here, my grandparents grew up on both sides. And through, kind of all I know is San Diego. I got some family in Vegas. I got some family on the East Coast, but I ain't going nowhere, man.
So what got you into hip hop? I mean, obviously you're an MC, but what was it that, man, this is what I want to do?
Ironically enough, it was East Coast hip hop. As much as a West Coast dude I am, and I think if you listen to the music, it's hard for me to escape that. But the East Coast rap is what really fulfills my spirit and my soul for hip hop. All about bars, content, metaphors, rhyme schemes. And I think on the West Coast, we deprioritize those things sometimes. So as much as I love, home, I grew up on watching battle rap and smack DVDs and stuff like that, and that's so I can name any of them dudes and spit their verses almost word for word. And growing up with, I think, like the infancy stage of the internet, and the internet really becoming an avenue to where if you don't know about something, you could find it and you could figure it out and you could learn all about it. So I'm downloading songs and in the ways we're not supposed to be downloading songs back then. But shit, beyond that, I started to uncover artists and people who I knew were signed to certain labels, but they didn't really have a single out, so they're not really getting airplay. But this is somebody that's sitting on the label roster, or they're a battle rapper, or they come from here. And so being able to find people's origins and shit, I became obsessive with it. And here I am today. Honestly, so I could. There's a couple. The biggest for me is like Pharoah Monch. Lyricist Lounge roster. That show, I was just putting up one of the homies on one of that the other day, and he was like, "What? This was out at one time?" And I thought it was like earlier in my life, but it was actually like 2000 and 99, and that era of rap, those dudes, Most Def, Talib Kweli. I remember the first time I heard fucking. What was it? Not a Talib Kweli, but a high tech beat. Man, damn, bro, I like you, bro. Like, all right, so that's the music that really did it for me, because I understood, like, yeah, the mainstream is gonna have its shine. It's gonna do its thing, and sometimes even this can bubble up to that. But for the people who love hip hop, for the people who love to do it, I think everybody knows that's where it's at.
Your moniker. How did you get your name, man?
My name is an evolution of a lot of things. I mean, so Cali King James came from my aunt one day deciding to just call me King James prior to LeBron James being King James, believe it or not. And then in high school, out of nowhere, all my homies just started putting Cali at the front of their names. It was like a Facebook thing. And so we did that. I evolved it into when Instagram popped off, I'm going to call myself Cali the Dreamer, but that wasn't my rap name yet. I was still Cali King James. Of course, King James is just a terrible thing to go by when LeBron has successful marketing and shit. So I let LeBron, keep that. And so I went with my Instagram handle, which was Cali the Dreamer. It was just what everybody was kind of already referring to me by. And so I just rock with that. Try not to fight it.
You have 2 albums out there. The second one, I'm sorry, not the 2019 one. What's up with the wordplay? Obviously, there is a quote that says that, but you played with it. What's up with that?
I appreciate that. I don't know if you can tell. I like to get high, and I love metaphors. I love wordplay. Like I feel like that's one of the reasons I'm in it. That's what gets me off. I spend crazy amounts of time trying to write a bar or try to make sense out of something that doesn't. And I remember smoking one day and thinking like, damn, what's like a dope, something that could be, stoner derivative. It could sound like, it's some high people music, but at the same time, anybody who like hears it and who's smart enough is gonna know like, oh, this is a clever motherfucker. So I tried to be as clever as I could with the name. But yeah, that's where it comes from. No turn on stone. And that's kind of like a thing that I stick with. I say that on all my songs. It's kind of like a brand that's coming soon.
And that's funny. That's the first thing I noticed when I went down your rabbit hole. I said, yo, look at that title. It's to play on the words. So immediately I had that question in my head to ask you. So thank you. So, yo, this next question is no diss question to anyone from the Dago to LA. What's the difference? Is there a difference between the music down in Dago and LA music?
It's a hard one. All my LA homies don't get mad at me, and my Dago homies don't get mad at me either. But y'all know the difference. LA is, I feel like, a carbon copy of the Bay. And I think San Diego wants so bad to be the Bay as well. So bad. That's where a majority of our culture comes from. That's where a majority of our words, our phrases, our old-time family members. If you military, you got family for sure between San Diego, San Francisco, Oakland. If you connected, you Pacific Islander, you for sure got some family in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? And we're a transplant city. We're a military city. My family's here by way of the military on both sides. And so knowing that, a lot of people don't stay here. So I feel like our culture at the beginning was a little bit of a revolving door, trying to figure out what we were. But now through events that Kali and Rick and Root and shit, I can even take it back to who really got it jumped off. Tram, good looking on everything you did. Started curating events to where we all start seeing each other, and I start being able to tap in with some of the rappers I want to be like in my city. And I feel like that has started to create an identity that we didn't have before. And now that we have that, there are the people who perform in San Diego, the people you see at shows, the people who participate in the scene, and then there are the people who get the shine. And we know the difference, but the people who get the shine sound like the LA and Bay Area music. And we can't hate on that, because I mean, if it's gonna get me my next look, keep doing what y'all doing. I rock with it. I love it. It's hip hop. But yeah, don't forget to bring it home.
You heard that straight from a Dago artist. Well said. You just mentioned Kali. How long have you been associated with the SD State of Mind crew? It's the SD State of Mind crew, correct?
What that came from was Kali putting together a compilation, and Kali's already been putting a compilation. Like, Kali's been doing events for us for years and years and years, and so he's a big reason as to why we all know each other in the first place and deal with one another. And he hit everybody up to do a compilation album, and it was all the artists that we're used to seeing on these bills, everyone we're all familiar with, everyone we're all friends with. And I think it's the dopest blend of like some of your hip hop artists who've been in the scene, who kind of help curate the scene, and then some of the newer, younger cats, some of the fresher cats, some of the people just getting a hold of their identity, like myself in the music industry, and really being able to showcase us all at one time, I think is a feat. I think a lot of people have tried it. It's been hella hard to do. It's hella hard to do and make sound like a cohesive project. And I think that was the first time we all got put on the album. We was like, oh, this shit hot. And then he threw an event. And then, so, you know, I mean, you breathe life into something and you give it identity like that, it becomes its own little baby. And shit, that's what it is. That's why Cali could send me a message about anything. I'm gonna do that shit for sure. He's a good dude. He helped. I see him as a pillar. Like when it's all said and done, when a lot of people, you know, start naming credits and giving people their flowers, I mean, you gotta name him for sure first. For sure.
And those that are out there listening to this, get that SD State of Mind, Volume 1, Dago the Renaissance. I might have tripped up the last part, but it's definitely SD State of Mind. This gentleman is on it, banging. So speaking of this music, man, let's go to one of your videos. Ocean Grown. That's a banger. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Cali the Dreamer.
That's where the high niggas win. Yeah. No turn, no stone. No turn, no stone. Yeah. 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 Yeah. No turn, no stone. Past the OG, always slump the lazy. I just rolled the ounce to motivate me. This roll just stoned and also wavy. Ocean grown, get rolled to stone your lady. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Hit your city, point me toward the flame. Please need to roll an ounce to motivate me. Clicked up with some locals, formed the 18. Gave them all consignment on some great weed. Several income streams I need to pay me. Flowing by the banks to form a lake. I pray I make the cake required to make dreams real for niggas building with me. Lately I feel bad for girls that want to date me. Last relationship that made me crazy. The day she stopped responding to my text. Now a streaming service, only way to play me. I'm one of the dopest locals that get quoted. Pockets getting bloated, cause he's getting pointed. Pack was overquoted, couple hundred over. Go to sleep with racks to blow them in the morning. I'ma write my life while true love gon' record it. Working on the sound that people can't ignore. But not until I found these flowers did I flourish. I tell them I'm not a stoner, I'm a florist. Options looking gorgeous, joint be so enormous. I gotta use both hands to hold it. Only lazy people smoke and lose they focus. If you bout your money, help me sing this chorus. Yeah. Past the OG, always slump the lazy. I just rolled the ounce to motivate me. This roll just stoned and also wavy. Ocean grown, get rolled to stone your lady. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Past the OG, always slump the lazy. I just rolled the ounce to motivate me. This roll just stoned and also wavy. Ocean grown, get rolled to stone your lady. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Unaware where my conscience is. How the fuck can I be conscious if I had a genre rapping, it be common sense. If it ain't that, then call it confidence. If it ain't that, then call it oxygen. Everything a nigga breathe, antioxidant. Free radicals all in your system, then boys dumb it down, nigga. We do the opposite. Got your broad on that sexual chocolate beer like I'm Amish, but right like I'm Solomon. Mixed with Big Papa and mixed with a vocab so competent they conclude he got his doctorate. What the fuck I mean by writing like Solomon, aka Jedediah. Easy niggas see the crown and try to test the waters, but I'm about to make the same niggas testify. Yeah, I'm a lava rider, decide your life over carne asada off Rosedale. Wrote this rolling balls after smoking 10 grams with my niggas in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, yeah. Wanna flow up to the point I blow up, and 10 be the same. Get you on and I throw up. These hoes be the same. Fuck the team for some YOLA. They think that they cool if they act like they know us. I passed the OG, always slump the lazy. I just rolled the ounce to motivate me. This roll just stoned and also wavy. Ocean grown, get rolled to stone your lady. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Back to back to back and never fade me. Yeah. No turn, no stone. No turn, no stone. Yeah. No turn, no stone. Yeah. No turn, no
right, welcome back to Temple Tactics. Cali Dreamer, yo, that video. Tune in, man, YouTube. All right, check them out, Cali the Dreamer. So let's get back to this, man. A couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap this up. Throughout your music, you shout out area code 619. Obviously, it's Dago, but what actually is 619?
So 619, and damn, I'm trying not to offend nobody with this. 619 is the heart of Dago. It is the inner city, oldest part of the city. It is where a lot of rappers come from. We used to actually have, in the past, we used to really try to only focus on artists from the 619. And that held San Diego back tremendously because we had this little thing about us that like, oh, you're not from the 619 area. It's, it's different. And that was never really the case. I can stand on the fact that there's artists from the 760, 858 that destroy anyone in the 619. And so and I'm a 619 Southeast Spring Valley, representative. I stand on, I'll fuck with everybody from my section. No diss. But if you know, you know. Stop playing.
Yo, 619. Couple more questions. This one, I asked to all the people that roll through Temple Tactics. What does hip-hop mean to you?
Hip-hop means an expression of the real. And whatever the real is to you, for the listener or for the artist, however you are expressing yourself, whatever circumstances you may be in, I think hip-hop is that outlet, and it is a representation of an outlet for the people, for the urban people, and for sure Black and brown people, but for anybody going through something. Because I always say we relate, for sure. It's dope to make a song about something that feels good, that's amazing, but we all know the songs that we feel the most are the songs where we talking about some of the negatives, and maybe not hurting each other, harming each other, but for sure talking about some of the things we go through, some of our trials and tribulations. And that's what we all relate to. No matter how much money is in your bank account, you've been sad before, you felt down before, and that's easy to relate to. And so for me, hip-hop has been a way for me to be able to express that and connect with other people, to show that, hey, we on this same journey. It's all life. R.I.P. to Takeoff from the Migos. You know what I'm saying? Just taken from us. For sure too early. You think his people not feeling the same pain that you will feel when you take a loss? And so having this outlet, having this amazing thing that we can gather around in the same way that people do religion, in the same way people do food, it's just one more thing that we can gather around and celebrate. And so for sure, hip-hop.
Oh, Cali Dreamer be jocking some knowledge, people. You paying attention? Last one, man. Is there anything you want to say before you head out?
Yeah. I got to give some shout-outs because, that's how obnoxious rappers do right out the gate. I'm going to go ahead and shout out DJ Root, Dre Cat, my man Rick Scales, Cali, everybody helping me push forward. My homeboys at the pad, you know what I'm saying, from where I'm from. Swag, Phil, Jamal, Tim, K Fresh, Cali K Fresh. You already know, y'all the ones that been pushing me forward, helping me progress. Hella people I forgot, y'all gonna put me in a headlock for that. Just want to get y'all out the way. Second, I want to say to San Diego, let's do it. Let's do it. I don't know what y'all waiting on. Participate in the scene. Follow back. Stop trying to be a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? Let's do this. We just as good. You know that. I'm out.
Words from a poet, Cali the Dreamer, and we're actually going to go into another video of yours, FTW2. Thanks for coming, Temple Tactics. Peace.
Oh, and it's like that, and it don't stop, and it's hey. Okay, I get tired of forget the word shit. Bad things happen, but life's so perfect. If you do what you love, then that's your purpose. You can let what others think, determine what your worth is. I get tired of forget the word shit. Bad things happen, but life's so perfect. If you do what you love, then that's your purpose. You can let what others think, determine what your worth is.
been smoking like Wiz since Cushion OJ. Decided if the laws go against my better judgment, I'm better busting the player too long as I can relocate. Long as my quotes the lowest, exceeding quotas on slow days. If I'm in that bitch, it's going up like Flonase. Serving custies and shows, still several flows I can showcase. Niggas be inside of their feelings until they face sprayed on the side of the building, cause they ain't wanna obey. I blow cake, polo poppy, all yo be lone fake. Rookie don't want the whole thing, hate when I got a prorate. Plug told me it's new, yay, do this shit for the old, yay.
I miss the old
Yeah, smoking till my soul stone, stunned myself with the stone cold. Woke up and had the soul sucked out of me by my soulmate. That GMO had soothed my anxiety. It reminded me of that blue dream that inspired me back in '08. The West best bitch, named myself after the whole state. Been in good hands, I'm all state in my home state. I've been on my homework since before the control verse. If I'm featured, go first, so no one go hit your verse, nigga.
I get tired of forget the word shit. Bad things happen, but life's still perfect. If you do what you love, then that's your purpose. You can let what others think determine what your worth is. I get tired of forget the word shit. Bad things happen, but life's still perfect. If you do what you love, then that's your purpose. You can let what others think determine what your worth is. Yeah, get money, big money. No, I ain't from Philly, but my city always sunny. And the boys stay cold like Chucky, my nose running. She pull up, I get it in, put it down. Rugrats on the tummy, cup of tea with honey. And I'm high off gummies. Sativa got me going like the Energizer Bunny. Now the glue just got me stuck, so you can't even take it from me. And yeah, I heard you say you love me, bitch, you really love me? Or is it all just for show, like I'm Truman? Like Russ, be a catalyst for these humans. Spark a change in what you doing. It's down to up, so what you choosing? Working daily, trying to get this merch moving. And every show raise my dopamine, yeah. All this road just gon' make my shoulder lean. Girl, you said that you did, but now you off to sleep. Yeah, you ain't have to lie, now you gotta leave. Yeah, I get tired of forget the word shit. Bad things happen, but life's still perfect. If you do what you love, then that's your purpose. You can let what others think determine what your worth is. I get tired of forget the word shit. Bad things happen, but life's still perfect. If you do what you love, then that's your purpose. You can let what others think determine what your
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you chopping up with Temple Tactics. But right here to my left, we have the High Desert's founder of the Fathers in Hip Hop, Justified. Oh man, thank you for coming today, taking your time out to speak with Temple Tactics about what you have going on out here in the High Desert.
Yes,
So,
sir, yes, sir.
man, let's just get right into it, bro.
I'm ready when you are,
Yeah,
boss.
yeah, I hear you. We know of your organization, right? Fathers in Hip Hop. We also know your name, Justified, rings out in the hip hop community. Can you tell us who is Justified?
Justified is just a man on a mission, you know what I mean, that has a vision to, unify things in anything that I touch, whether it's in the community, in the industry. I like to be a dot connector and to bring things together. And I'm just a blessed individual that God decided to place in hip hop to make a difference.
Beautiful. Up and down on your red, Fathers of Hip Hop, just blaring. So let's open up with that. You definitely rep the community with Fathers in Hip Hop. Can you tell those people out there what is Fathers in Hip Hop and what is it that y'all do?
It's a lot of layers to Fathers in Hip Hop, but ultimately, we try to increase and impact fatherhood engagement through hip hop culture, through bringing events that allow fathers to come out with their families and, be entertained and educated at the same time. Fathers in Hip Hop is really just a voice, for fathers, not just involved in hip hop, but I look at hip hop more as, like you said, a culture, and it's the generation, it's the hip hop generation. So we're fathers in the midst of hip hop, and you got your goods and you got your bads.
Yes, sir.
And being a father in hip hop, dealing with all the negative, the killing, the drugs, the disrespect, just everything that hip hop was not intended to be, it's kind of hard being a father in that era of now. So we try to combat those evils with positive messages in our music and just really getting men to understand the power that they have as fathers and how important it is to be one.
Apparently you are a father.
Man, apparently, yeah, as a father, I got a bunch of children, 3 by seed, but when I got married, I acquired, 4 more children through the marriage, and even though my wife had passed away, I'm still very connected to all of the kids. I call myself a step-up father because I've stepped up and, been a father figure to them. And they embrace me as that. So that's the powerful part of it, is that, their mother has been deceased 8 years, but we're still connected, and I'm still that father figure that they come to, and they're here for me just as much as I'm there for them. So fatherhood is definitely a blessing on various levels in my life.
Beautifully said. Well said. This is sort of a two-part question, and you kind of just touched on it right now with what you just answered. What year was the Fathers in Hip Hop originated, and what inspired you to do this?
Fathers in Hip Hop was birthed in my mind a few years after my wife had passed, and I was left with my two youngest daughters. They were 6 and 8, and it was a big debate amongst others that I might not be able to balance being the hip hop artist, doing shows, and raising two young girls. So I became a father in hip hop, and that's not where the idea started, but it was being backstage and having other artists in the industry that, follow social media, and they kind of knew what I was dealing with, and they would be like, yo, I respect, you being there for them girls, and man, I got 3 kids, and this, and we started having this dialogue like fathers talking about our kids, and I was like, how dope would that be for the world to have access to these type of conversations between artists that you might not think are fathers, or not even be considering that they're fathers because of their position in the industry. For example, my guy Sugar Free, I'll never forget. He was at a show out here, and he pulled me off to the side, and he started giving me his condolences on losing my wife and my mom, and I love what you're doing with your girls. And I'm like, man, I didn't even really know that he knew, but he's like, yeah, I follow you, bro. I know what's up. I just want to salute you. And he's like, me, I got. And we had this conversation. Then another studio session, Dub C was in the studio working on a feature for me, and he and I had a fatherhood conversation, and it just, I wanted to bring that conversation to the forefront. And my original concept for Fathers in Hip Hop was a documentary, to just do these interviews. And shout out to Frank Nitty, he let me use his studio, the Arc down in Riverside, and I invited a lot of independent artists to the table, and we just had a interview style dialogue about fatherhood, and that's where it started. But then God just kind of gave it its own legs. And how do you get the word out? Well, I'm an event promoter. I do events, so let me throw a Fathers in Hip Hop event. And it was like, let me honor some fathers at this Fathers in Hip Hop launch party. And we honored Player Ham from the Penthouse Player Crew, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Chester Stamps, who was Badass's father, rest in peace, Badass. Those were the first 2 men that Fathers in Hip Hop acknowledged their fatherhood, because those were 2 fathers that I actually have been around their fatherhood and watched them with their kids. Chester was always with Badass at shows, being his father, you know what I mean? And, Player Ham, his son's the Young Giants. So that's where it started on the awards. And then it was just like, man, we're going to just start honoring fathers. And so we started the Fathers in Hip Hop Awards. And like I said, it's branched off into so many different things that I never thought of from the beginning, but that's how it happens when, God gives you a vision. He adds to it as you complete this. This is what's next. Now this is what it is. Just, man, it's been 4 years? I think late 2017, 2018 is when I did the trademark, because I knew immediately that this is going to be a blessed venture and that I need to protect it. So I filed the trademark, I believe, in 2018. 2021, I got it into the nonprofit 501c3 sector. So like I said, it's things that's being done that I never kind of thought would be, and it's just, I'm on the ride like everybody else, you know what I mean? Trying to figure it out of what we do, because we do so much.
Yes. Wow, man, that's an interesting story that the approach that had you go down and create this nonprofit organization. From before it was a nonprofit to what
Right.
it. Yeah, man, that's a beautiful story. And I think you're probably one of the few that are actually probably doing something like this. Everyone awards people for, oh, you had a great album, blah, 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 but for being a father,
Right.
yo, which is, as we know, hip hop is a lot of single parents, right? Mothers, but you're
Right.
fathers. So man, you're doing some beautiful work. Congratulations on
Man,
that.
appreciate that, boss. It's a blessing. It's like, you know, for God to give you something like that, it's a. Sometimes you could say it's a burden because it's like, why me, God? Why are you putting this on my shoulders? You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's an honor and a blessing to know that He entrusted me with such a great vision, and to watch Him provide for it is like, that's the most amazing part, because it's nothing that I can do on my own to make some of the things happen. The connections and the relationships that have been built around it is just, I know it's Him. And you know, it's one of those situations where your test becomes a testimony. So single fatherhood was a test, but now it's like a testimony, and it's touching other people and, you know, inspiring other folks to step their fatherhood up.
Well said, Justify. Fathers in Hip Hop works with various organizations. You were just talking about the many rap artists, or few rap artists, but there are many that you do speak and talk with. Is there any particular rap artist or album that inspires you to do what you're doing today?
I don't want to sound vain, and I don't want to sound like,
just, you know, something that gets you going. You're like, yo, let's go to work today.
I'm able to go back and listen to my own records from over my 20-year span, and I can hear the seeds that God have been planting. And it's like, damn, I said that way back then. Damn, I said. So it's like listening to my old records kind of gives me the steps, because it was like, it had a prophetic type value to it. Things that I was saying that didn't even really know what it was gonna lead to, but now I see it manifested in Fathers in Hip Hop. So I would have to say that God has been using me to inspire myself through the messages that He's been giving me over the years of being on the mic. So yeah.
Man, good answer. Hey,
I'm just saying.
Answered like an MC. What does the MC say? Hey, yo, I'm the best MC.
Yeah.
You inspire yourself. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
My life, my story, my, you know, and it's like a big actor or a big artist that they make a biopic, you know what I mean? And he gets to sit back and watch his life. Well, my music has always been a reflection of my life. My stories in my music is really me. It's not a party guy, it's not a character, it's not a gimmick. My records consist of my testimony, my life. So listening to my record is like watching my life replay, and I'm able to pick up on things like, that makes sense now. Didn't, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, totally.
I study myself. I can't say that I'm a true, I live hip hop. It's not something that I've studied. It's not something that I've fantasized after. It's just who I am. Like, I embody what hip hop is. You know what I mean? So you could ask me hip hop trivia and I'll probably get all the answers wrong. And maybe I should be embarrassed about that, but I just am hip hop in the flesh. You know what I mean? A part of it, not it in its entirety, but that's why I'm in it, because it's in me.
Yes, sir. Let's take it back a little. When hip hop first came out, we all, practiced those elements. We were b-boys. We wrote down on our notebooks, right?
Right.
We did touch the walls. Have you always been an MC or any community activist? Are there any other elements that you grew up on practicing?
Well, hip hop found me in Compton. And I say it found me because, it was the NWAs and that West Coast movement that was going on. So everybody was rapping. Like, I wasn't around pop locking. I wasn't around, dudes with the big boombox, but we was in the freestyle circles, under the tree in the apartment building or at the lunch at school was rapping. And, it was something that when I did it, it was like, damn, I'm good. And other people like, you good. So it's just something that stuck. And now I'm writing for the homies. They're like, write me a verse. And we're recording our own songs to instrumentals on the karaoke machine. And we just doing our own thing. And that's where it started. That's where I fell in love with hip hop.
Out to the park.
Bless me. Spirit moving.
Yes, sir. Speaking of fathers in hip hop, let's go back to that. You put together an event annually. You're giving awards. You recognize individuals. Past recipients have been Spice One, Corrupt, Exhibit, Freeway Rick. In fact, Global Advocate of Temple of Hip Hop, Malik One, has also received an award.
KRS-One.
KRS-One, yes.
He was among one of the early blessings. Yep.
Is there any criteria to this? What is it? How do you go about choosing these individuals?
I see examples of their fatherhood, or I know them personally to know their fatherhood. But it's times where I'll Google, you know what I mean, and see, because I use the events as another way to support fatherhood by booking fathers. Putting a, even though they're going to get shows with or without me, but here's an extra, boom, and we're going to give you an award. So it's like we're investing into their fatherhood because we trust that as a father that he's taking that money that he's making for this show and it's going towards providing for his family. That's what he's doing for a living. So, I'm not looking for perfect fathers. It's not the Father of the Year award. It's an acknowledgement that, hey, you answered the call of duty and you're there for your children. Whether you're making mistakes, whether you're the best at it, we're acknowledging you as a father, and hopefully getting this acknowledgement award will have you focused more on the father that you are and inspire you to move a little different if you are moving off. Like, it's a reminder, you're a father and you're in hip hop, and we acknowledge you for being a dad to your kids. Not saying that you're the best dad, not saying that you're a perfect dad, but you're a father, and we're acknowledging your fatherhood. And the element of surprise, sometimes you get to see that real emotion because they usually don't know they're about to get it. They're just being, well, now people might be catching on if I book them for a show that's going to happen, but it's just another day at the office for them. I got their deposit, they showing up to perform, I let them rock the crowd, do their thing. Hey, before you leave the stage, bruh, we want to acknowledge you with this Fathers in Hip Hop Award. And you get that natural, like, it's usually like they'll pick it up and they'll look at it, and you can just see it in their face that it means something. Like Free, when he got his, he was like, that motion was powerful for me because it hits here. Yeah. This ain't a platinum plaque. This ain't a BET award. I'm being acknowledged for my most important duty on this earth is to be a father, and to be acknowledged for it. I believe it gives them a special feeling, and I think it exits the stage with them and goes back home and starts to shift some things, I feel that's what happens. I may be wrong.
Not at all. If I may, this is going to be part of another question, but I was going through the social media. What is group economics?
Group economics is myself and my partner Dion and my partner Mr. Morgan. We did an event together, and I came up with the name because it had already been my mentality of group economics. Your money, my money, his money, their money, we all put our money together. We could do more collectively than we were doing individually. So while I'm doing small events, he's doing small events, we bring those three budgets together and we birthed Desert Jam, where we did out in Lancaster. We did our first annual was in 2021. We did the second one this year. First year we brought out MC8, who got his Fathers in Hip Hop Award that night. We brought out Sugar Free, who had already been a Fathers in Hip Hop recipient. We had Compton AV out there. He was already received an award. And we just brought, small budgets to do big things. And that's always been my belief, is that it's powers in numbers. You know what I mean? That if we all bring what we got to the table, we can do bigger things. And that's group economics. So group economics is any project that I partner with other entities to make something bigger happen. So
Ooh, you have some stuff going on out here.
That's how we rolling with the group economics, and it's a blessing. It works hand in hand with Fathers in Hip Hop all the way.
And listeners, viewers, y'all paying attention? Listen to what he's talking about, group economics. Next question.
Yes, sir.
So you have your hands in quite a bit of things out here, group economics, Fathers in Hip Hop. I saw that you assist in the political process as well.
Yeah, that's new.
Okay,
That's new.
What is it that you're trying to accomplish out here in the high desert?
Everything is about unity, group economics, coming together. That if a lot of people do a little, we can do great things. So my venture into the political thing, we did an event called Mask Off. I'm connected with a lot of the city council. The mayor is, friends,
As you should.
But I felt like there was a voice missing from the city councils, from the voting process, that the average dude that could care less about politics is not invited to the table. So I had visited a few platforms to where the candidates were getting questioned by the moderator of what they're, and I'm looking around the room like, where are we at? And when I say we, I'm not just specifically speaking to black people, but where are we the street? Where are we the taxpayer? Where are we? Like, all I see is the business suits, and the people that got influence and power is attending. Where was my email? Because I'm only in the room because I know somebody that knows somebody, and you know what I mean? So I wanted to put the mask off to give the community an invite to hear what these politicians were promising and saying that they were about and what they were going to do, because we weren't in the room. We want to sit at the table too and hear. And a lot of people aren't interested, and I get that, but it's some that would be interested if it was presented to them in the right way. And I brought the hip hop to it, the importance of it from our culture. Like, we can't complain about what they not doing till we show up and tell them what we want done. If they don't hear our voice, they can't be our choice. So, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Let's get them in the room with us.
Yeah.
And man, it was really like a super blessing. It came together in about 2 weeks. And everybody was like, how did y'all do this in 2 weeks? Like, because we really came professional. Like, I think they paid too much attention to the hip hop in me and not the father and businessman in me. Like, how's he going to, okay. You get people that'll pay attention to see you fall or to watch you error, you know what I mean? And we moved with excellence, program on time, everything was done with excellence. And it shocked a lot of people that we were able to pull 9 of the 11 candidates to the platform. It was only 2 candidates that didn't participate, and that was by choice. It wasn't because they weren't invited. It was because whatever their reasons were, they didn't want to have anything to do with this Fathers and Hip Hop and Mask Off. They didn't want nothing to do with it. But we gave a voice to the underdog in the race as well, because a lot of the people that were running for city council and even mayor didn't have the budget for the big signs all over the city. They didn't have the budget so we created a marketing tool by promoting the Mask Off that included their name, their face. It made them available to the voter to see who they are and hear what they had to say. And even if you weren't in attendance, we filmed it, broke it down into pieces. I gave all 9 candidates their own highlight reel of the event. The question, their answer. Now the question gets asked once, but you got 9 answers. But each candidate got the question with just their answer, edited to it, and given to them to have their voice heard through their social media or wherever they cared to share it. But I think a lot of people heard the candidates that might not have otherwise because their marketing budget wasn't strong. So you know how editing takes. So I took a 2-hour event and broke it down into bite-sized pieces for each candidate. That was my offering to them to help them be heard, but also to give the community an opportunity to hear, because they wasn't there or they weren't invited or whatever. You know what I mean? So we're following up with that. I got a follow-up event that we're working on right now to congratulate and celebrate the winners and the candidates, because it takes a lot to run a campaign. So the last question of the forum was, if you don't win, how willing are you to share your information and your resources with the person that does win to help make our city better? And every one of them said they're not going nowhere, that they're here, they're gonna work with whoever does win, and they're still gonna be active in this process. Here's an opportunity to follow up on your word. I'm throwing a congratulate the candidates and celebrate the candidates. Will you be in the room? Can I get all y'all in the same room again in conversation to help, build up our city? So that's coming. I'm in. God just gave me that vision yesterday, but I've already made calls, and the mayor that won, he's agreed. Well, he was returning to his seat. He's agreed to participate. I've talked to all the candidates. They're just waiting on a when and where. So now that I've got all of them to agree to participate again, we're gonna set a date and a place, and I'm trying to get the college. I'm having faith that the colleges, the high school gave us the one for the mask off. Now I'm focused on the college, because the college is the central place of the high desert. There's only one college. So Apple Valley, Victorville, Adelanto, Hesperia, that's the college for the high desert. So I feel that's where it's gonna be at. It ain't official, but just hear it on here. Justified said we doing the Meet the Mask, congratulate the candidates in January of 2023 at the college. But I'll let you know the date and time.
Thank you.
Later.
And yo, man, congratulations on this sort of new venture, if I may, going down that
It's very
political
new.
road.
It's very new.
And for hip hop too, you bringing hip hop along with that, This might be a very simple, straightforward question here. The name Fathers in Hip Hop, was it that obvious for you to come up with it, or is there a story behind that?
Just a father in hip hop.
All good with that one. I just wanted
You know
to
what I
know.
mean? And it's like, how didn't anybody else think of this? It's so plain. Yeah, man, I'm just a father in hip hop. And I put the S on it because it ain't just about me. It's about fathers. The vision for Fathers in Hip Hop was never for Justified to be the father in it. No, it's a collective of fathers that have a dedication and commitment to fatherhood and willing to use their influence to press that. So, yeah, it's pretty simple. Fathers in Hip Hop. God gave it to me. Give him the credit. I got the copyright. He get the credit.
There you go.
Yeah, real talk.
Oh, yes. 2 more questions. One question after this one, but this one I asked to all the people that come through Temple Tactics.
Mm-hmm.
What does hip hop mean to you?
I think it's a voice. It's a way to express yourself. It's a way to communicate with the world. Whether you're dancing has a lot of emotion in it, and you can see and feel a person's passion in their dance, or whether it's the graffiti or whether it's the being on the mic. It's an outlet. It's a form of expression. It's a way to communicate who you are to the world. I don't believe it's a right or wrong answer, but that's what it means to me. I'm in hip hop because it gives me a voice. It gives me a way to express myself and to share myself with whoever is willing to listen.
Yes, sir. And this last one, is there anything you would like to say to those out there that are watching?
All your deadbeat daddies better take care of your babies. Nah, I'm just playing, but I'm for real. Hey, but I made this post earlier today, so it's a today thought. You have to trust God in everything that you do. And you have to submit yourself to His will, even if it's going against your own will. But to trust God and to follow your heart every time, all the time.
words of wisdom from Justified, founder of Fathers in Hip Hop out here in the high desert. We thank you for taking the time out to sit down at Temple Tactics and do this interview.
Man, I appreciate you, inviting me to the table and going out of your way to make it happen. I feel it's necessary, and for me, it's just another chapter in the book of Justified. And we here with the Temple, man, and it's blessed. Shout out to Malik. Shout out to my homie for connecting dots, and that's what it's about.
Yes, sir.
Sharing information, connecting people, and that's the only way we're gonna win is if people continue to connect themselves with others, and we can make movements move.
You heard it.
Bang, West Coast.
Founders and
HD way, yeah.
Fathers in Hip Hop.
Yes, sir.
Bye.